Out of everyone who could be watching this right now, you are one of the very few who actually made it here. This wasn't the algorithm. This wasn't a fluke. I moved you to this message before the trap they set for you could snap shut. You're here because I needed you to get here early. That feeling you've been carrying, that nagging suspicion that won't go away, that knot in your stomach every time this person shows up. It isn't weakness. It isn't insecurity. It isn't paranoia. It is my voice acting as an alarm inside of you. And you made it, just in time. Stay with me until the very end of this message. Before we're done, you're going to know exactly what kind of trap has been set. You'll understand who's behind it, and you'll receive the protocol to walk away unscathed, without exposing yourself, without selling out, and without feeding into the enemy's hand. You were guided here. Now let me show you what heaven has already seen. I know there are nights where you're on your phone late, rereading their texts. You aren't looking for a fight. You aren't trying to nurse a grudge. You're doing it because something just doesn't add up, and your spirit won't let it go. You read one sentence, then another, then go back to the top, trying to pinpoint exactly where it went wrong. It's not anger you're feeling, it's confusion. It's the feeling of seeing something that doesn't have a name yet, and there are days when you're standing right in front of them. You're smiling, you're responding, you're playing along, but your stomach is tight. It's not a full-blown panic attack, just that low-level tension that won't quit, that silent siren going off while you chat, while you agree, while you force another smile. Then there's the weight of staying quiet when you wanted to speak up. You wanted to call them out. You had the words ready in your head. You knew exactly what you'd say. You had the receipts in your hand. But you held back, not because you lacked courage, but because you didn't want to seem crazy or jealous or like that person who sees the worst in everyone. So you swallowed it. You stayed quiet, and it's been eating at you ever since. You even went back through the history, the favors you did, the help you offered, the things you shared. You seek. You dedicate yourself. You do everything right, and yet abundance never comes. And the worst part? You start wondering if you're doing something wrong, if you're being heard up above, if it's meant for you at all. It's not a lack of faith or worthiness. It's a spiritual blockage that ordinary prayer alone cannot break. The Miracle Journal unblocks this in 21 days with a spiritual protocol that works exactly where your prayer doesn't reach. Along with the journal, you'll also receive as a gift the prayer guide and the Psalms manual, with the most powerful sacred practices and texts to deepen your transformation. To claim your version of the journal, tap the link in the comments right below this video. The things you shared. And when you laid it all out side by side, it became obvious it was a one-way street. You gave. You served. You opened up. But when you were the one who needed something, the response was different. You aren't here by accident. You're here because you stood your ground while carrying this alone. Because you didn't abandon what your spirit picked up on, even when you couldn't prove it yet. That isn't madness. That's strength. Leaving a like on this video is your public amen. Heaven records what you confess openly. If this message is hitting home, leave your mark right now. Before I show you the signs that confirm what you're already feeling, I need to make you 3 promises. First, that suspicion you felt isn't an emotional flaw that needs fixing. It's not trust issues. It's not past trauma distorting your view. It is active divine protection. It is the Spirit working exactly how He was designed to work. You aren't broken. You are being shielded. Second, before you finish this video, you will receive a concrete protocol on how to handle this trap without exposing yourself or playing into their hand. You won't have to fight this in your own strength. There is a move that comes before the confrontation, and I'm giving it to you for free, right here. Third, when you leave this message, you'll be able to declare that you got out untouched. Not because you were slick, not because you were smarter, But because there was a covering over you before you even understood what was happening, I saw every night you wanted to speak but held your tongue. I was there when you stayed quiet because you were afraid of looking paranoid. I need you to know that your silence in those moments wasn't cowardice. It was obedience. I taught you to wait, and you obeyed. Close your eyes for just a second. Not for long. Just bring your attention inward. What I'm about to show you isn't a theory. It's what heaven put inside you to protect you before you even knew you needed it. Sign number 1. You felt a physical reaction when you got a text from this person. Maybe your shoulders tensed up. Maybe you felt a knot in your stomach before you even finished reading. Maybe you held your breath before responding. You called it stress. You called it being tired. You called it being too sensitive. But what that actually was your body recording spiritual data before your mind could process it. Your internal system caught a frequency that your rational brain couldn't access yet. You were being warned. Sign number 2. You've had disturbing or repetitive dreams. Maybe about betrayal. Maybe about a trap snapping shut before you could get out. It might not have been about this person directly, but the feeling you had when you woke up was the exact same feeling you get when they show up. Sleep is when the filter of the mind rests and the spirit speaks without interruption. What you processed in those nights wasn't random anxiety. It was heaven revealing in images what the daylight hadn't named yet. Sign number 3. You started cataloging inconsistencies. Small ones. Something they said one week that contradicted what they said the next. A reaction that didn't match what they claimed to feel. A detail that didn't fit. You didn't make an actual list, but that list exists in your memory because your spirit was building a dossier without you even telling it to. You called it unhealthy suspicion. What it really was discernment operating in silent mode. Sign number 4. Someone from the outside, someone who knew nothing about your suspicions, said something strange about this person. It might have been an innocent question, a casual observation, a warning disguised as small talk. But when you heard it, something inside you clicked. Not because that person knew everything, but because what came from the outside confirmed what was already waiting inside you for validation. Heaven doesn't just send internal signals. He sends external voices to verify what your spirit has already recorded. The next sign is the hardest one to hear. It's the one the enemy has spent the most time trying to make you ignore. Sign number 5. This is the most important one. There was a moment where you had a sudden impulse to cancel, to not go, to not send the text, to not reveal that piece of information. You were about to share something big, or you had a meeting scheduled, or you were about to grant someone access, and suddenly something stopped you. It wasn't laziness. It wasn't procrastination. It wasn't just being shy. It was the spirit blocking the access route the enemy needed to spring the trap. That impulse to back off saved you from handing over exactly what they were waiting for. And you probably didn't even realize it at the time. Type, "Free me," in the comments if these signs are hitting the mark. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes for one more second. This doesn't work if your attention is divided. This is bigger than it looks. There is a woman in the Bible who knew about a trap before she had all the proof. Her name was Esther. She discovered there was a plot in motion to destroy her people. The plan was already advanced. The man who set the trap, Haman, had the king's favor. And the time to act hadn't arrived yet. What could Esther have done? She could have confronted Haman right then and there. She could have gone to the king with a hunch and no evidence. She could have spoken too soon and given away her position before she had the protection to back it up. She didn't do any of that. She waited. She watched. She moved only when the time was right. And when that moment came, Haman's plan turned against him. The very trap he built to destroy Esther's people ended up destroying him instead. If you are watching this, you are in Esther's position. This isn't just a weak metaphor. It's a real-time strategy. You found out about the plan before it could close. You don't have all the evidence yet. The perfect time to act isn't here yet. But you are aware. And awareness is power. In the secular world, we have something called a frequency detector. It picks up signals the human ear can't hear. When that device goes off, it's not because it's broken, it's because it's working. It's catching something real that your other senses can't confirm yet. The suspicion you felt was your detector working. The device isn't faulty. You aren't paranoid. You have a spiritual sensor that is calibrated to pick up on a frequency that hasn't become audible noise for everyone else yet. The sensor was right. Heaven will confirm it in perfect time. The bridge between these two stories is this. Esther trusted the warning she received. She didn't act too early, but she didn't ignore it either. She took the warning as a real fact and waited for the window to move. The detector was right. You were right. And the confirmation is coming. Not because you're going to force it, but because you're going to watch while heaven works. Type Esther in the comments if you've ever had to bite your tongue when you wanted to scream. Heaven sees those who wait for the right moment. Let me stop for 1 full minute. You felt the warning. You didn't ignore it. You didn't act impulsively. You held it. You watched. You waited. You made it here, which means heaven still has something to show you. There is something fundamental about what all of this means. The trap exists, but you haven't fallen into it. That isn't luck. That is coverage. I see the discipline it took to hold back. I see how much it cost you to stay quiet when you were right. I see every time you backed away without knowing why. I need you to understand that this restraint was not weakness. It was part of the protection plan. What you didn't reveal kept the enemy from having the information they needed to close the net. Your silence was obedience, and I have recorded it. And here is who you are. In the middle of all this, you are a sentinel. I saw you awake at 3 in the morning, rereading, comparing, checking. I was there. I need you to know it wasn't anxiety keeping you up. It was the spirit refusing to let go because there was something real to guard. You are the one who sees before the others do. You are the one who records while the others sleep. That isn't a flaw. It's your function. Knowing this allows you to stop calling yourself paranoid and start trusting what your spirit records before your mind can explain it. What you feel is data. From now on, treat it that way. You are preserved. I saw every time you bit your tongue, every time you canceled without an explanation, every time you took a step back without knowing why. What you don't know is that every time you backed away, you moved out of the plan's reach. Every time you withdrew, the target moved. I was moving the target. You were obeying without even knowing you were obeying. Knowing this allows you to stop blaming yourself for the cancellations and the absences that seemed weird. There was a hand moving you away from the spot where the trap was set. You didn't fail in those moments. You were saved in them. You are a witness bearer. I have already seen the end of this story, and what happens when you walk away from this trap unscathed is going to become the story that protects someone else. There is someone about to trust the wrong person. And when they are on the edge of falling, your story is going to reach them. What you're going through isn't just about you. It's material. It's a testimony that will shield those who aren't protected yet. Knowing this allows you to view what happened not as an embarrassment or a shame that you were almost fooled, but as testimony material. What was difficult for you will serve a purpose far beyond you. Type the name of the identity you just received in the comments. And if you aren't subscribed yet, now is the time. What you get here isn't entertainment. It's words of coverage. Stay. Now for the protocol. It's called the Mantle Protocol. Coverage before confrontation. Before you do anything, before you confront them, before you cut them off, before you reveal what you know. There are 3 moves that come first, and they must happen in this order. Step 1. Name it out loud to God. Not to tattle, not to build a case, but to move it out of the field of guessing and into the field of prayer with real information. When you name what you know, you give heaven a concrete point to work with. I know they did this. I noticed that. I felt that move. Say it, out loud, to heaven. This isn't a complaint. It's a transfer of authority. You are putting the dossier in the hands of the one who has the power to act with perfect justice and perfect timing. Step 2. Consciously withhold. Hold back the next piece of information, the next favor, or the next level of access you would normally give. Don't do it out of resentment or anger. Do it as a deliberate act of obedience to the warning. There will be a moment in the next few days where you'll be about to share something or do something automatically. Stop. Wait. Ask heaven if this is the moment. Active restraint is a spiritual act, not an emotional one. You aren't being cold. You are being covered. Step 3. Ask for the reveal. Ask heaven to let the enemy's plan reveal itself through that person's own actions, without you having to do anything but watch. What was built in the dark will seek the light in due time. A trap that requires your participation to snap shut won't close if you don't participate. When you ask heaven for the revelation to come from within the plan itself, you take yourself out of the game and let heaven play it for you. The sign that this protocol is working isn't immediate relief. It isn't a high. It's quietness. It's the feeling that you've put the matter in the right hands and you can finally breathe. Not because the problem is gone, but because you aren't carrying it alone anymore. If you are receiving this protocol right now, type "received" in the comments. The decree has been recorded. Now I have to warn you about what's coming in the next 72 hours. Not as a possibility, but as a certainty. 3 things will be thrown at you as you leave this video. The enemy does not like losing a target they've been prepping for a long time. Tactic 1. Spiritual gaslighting. It will come disguised as your own conscience. A voice will say, "Are you being ungrateful to someone who helped you?" It will look like Christian maturity. It will feel like doubting this person is a sin, like you're violating the principle of thinking the best of others. When that voice comes, recognize where it's from. The conscience God gives leads to peace, not forced silence. Anything that tries to make you ignore the warning you received isn't the spirit. It's the trap's defense mechanism. Tactic 2. False urgency. This will come disguised as a closing window, a deadline, a decision that has to be made right now, before you have time to check. The enemy knows you are in the waiting protocol, so they will try to force a move before your coverage is complete. When you feel pressured to decide now, without time, without space to hear the Spirit, it's a trap. A pressured decision without peace is never from God. Wait. Tactic 3. The bought witness. This will look like social consensus. Someone will tell you, directly or indirectly, that everyone else trusts this person, that you're the only one suspicious, that your perception is isolated and nobody else sees what you see. The goal is to make your intuition feel like paranoia by contrasting it with everyone else's confidence. When this happens, remember, Esther was alone in her perception before the revelation came. The number of people who haven't seen it yet doesn't cancel out what you have already seen. And then there's the internal enemy, the voice that says, "What if I'm wrong and I ruin a real relationship over a feeling?" That doubt is the trap's last line of defense. It's the most sophisticated. It's the hardest to catch because it wears the clothes of humility and healthy self-critique. You'll recognize it because it always comes right after a moment of clarity. Clarity comes from the Spirit. The doubt that immediately follows clarity and tries to undo it comes from the adversary. Type protected. In the comments, the decree of protection has been sealed over you. Now put your right hand over your heart. Firmly. Feel your heartbeat. Let your feet touch the ground. Take one deep breath. What you're about to hand over isn't a to-do list. It's actual weight, and it has to be named to be handed over. The shame of having trusted the wrong person. The weight of having opened up, given and invested in someone who was using you while they smiled. That shame is not yours. You acted with integrity. What the other person did with it is on them. The shame does not belong to you. Hand it over. The weight of knowing, but not being able to speak yet. Of carrying information without the green light to act. Of watching people around you trust someone you know doesn't deserve it. That weight is real. But it wasn't made to be carried alone, and it wasn't made to be carried forever. Hand it over. The fear of being wrong and being unfair. Of having felt something that was just a misunderstanding. Of accusing someone in your heart who didn't deserve it. That fear exists because you are a person of integrity. But the warning you received didn't come from fear. It came from the Spirit. And I, who know the hearts of everyone involved, am confirming what you felt. Be still for a moment. I was there that night you were rereading those messages, unable to sleep. I saw the screen light up the dark. I saw you scroll up and down, trying to find the missing piece. I want you to know I was awake with you. Not because I couldn't spare you from that, but because that night was necessary. You were building the discernment you're going to need for the decision that's coming. I was there too when you stayed quiet in front of them, when you had every reason to speak. I saw how much it cost you. I saw the sentence you formed and then swallowed. I saw the effort it took to smile and act normal while your spirit was on high alert. I didn't ask you to endure that out of cruelty. I asked because the time hadn't come yet. And you obeyed without knowing why. That is faith. You aren't late to this. You are being positioned. The trap that was set against you will fall apart at the hands of the one who built it. I have already seen the end. I already organized the exit before the enemy finished setting the snare. You are walking out of this unscathed. Not because you were slicker, but because there was a mantle over you before you even knew you needed one. The shame of being fooled has already been absorbed. The weight of knowing but not speaking has been taken. And the fear of being wrong, I will answer for that. What you felt was real. What you witness will confirm it. Wait. Obey. Watch. You are a sentinel. You are preserved. You are a witness bearer. And none of those names can be revoked by what someone else planned in the shadows. From a lack of clarity to an abundance of discernment. From the loneliness of seeing it alone to the coverage of heaven that confirms it. From the shame of having trusted to the authority of one who walked away clean. From the weight of carrying it to the lightness of one who handed it to the right hands. Now say it out loud, wherever you are. I have been warned. I am covered. The trap will not shut on me. Say it out loud, not as a wish, but as a decree, because that is what was delivered here. Amen. Type it done in the comments. Not as a formality, but as a confirmation that you received what was sent for you in this message. There is someone in your contacts right now. Someone you feel is about to trust the wrong person. Or someone who is already carrying this weight of suspicion alone and thinks they're going crazy for feeling it. Send this video to them. Now. Not later. Now. Because the same coverage that reached you can reach them before the trap closes. If they want to go deeper, the link is in the first comment, waiting for them just like it waited for you. It is done. What was delivered here has been delivered. You are not the same person you were when this message began. You seek. You dedicate yourself. You do everything right, and yet abundance never comes. And the worst part, you start wondering if you're doing something wrong, if you're being heard up above, if it's meant for you at all. It's not a lack of faith or worthiness. It's a spiritual blockage that ordinary prayer alone cannot break. The Miracle Journal unblocks this in 21 days with a spiritual protocol that works exactly where your prayer doesn't reach. Along with the journal, you'll also receive as a gift the prayer guide and the Psalms manual with the most powerful sacred practices and texts to deepen your transformation. To claim your version of the journal, tap the link in the comments right below this video.